Greetings, people. 'Tis I, 480 volts, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the video series. Work, I think, puts the sort of finishing touches on this track before we finalize it. Now, a couple things. I have got this little pluck, this rhythm pluck that we added yesterday. I've since then raised the makeup on the compressor a couple dBs. I think it might have been at 0 or it might have been at 1, but I bumped it up to 3 just to make it louder because I was listening to it. I could hear it great in my headphones, but when I listened to it through the speakers, it was just barely there, so I had to bump it up just a little bit so you could hear it. So there's that. I'll tell you something I'm about to do. I'm going to get rid of all of these bass lines that we added in the darkness lead. They're just not doing it for me. It's a good idea, but they don't work for this track. So it's going to go back to... Why am I still hearing it, though? I can totally still... Wait, what did I not delete them? Let me undo whatever it was that I did. I thought I deleted them all. Delete. There we go. Oh, I didn't delete these. That's what it was. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I think it'll clean things up better if I do that. And I think I was thinking about this yesterday, but I wasn't sure. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to approach the build before the drop just a little bit differently. So where is the build? So what I'm going to do here, modulation, I'm going to have it not build back up. See how the modulation drops down? I'm just going to have it go all the way down. And so this is how it's going to sound. I'm undecided on that, but the way it'll have to work is these guys here. These guys will have to be, these guys will have to do, what? These guys will have to work their way back down. What was this? Let's hear what that sounds like. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. The way it was before, that's how we'll keep it. That was an experiment. I just had to hear how it sounded. Okay, so we'll just leave it the way it is. That's fine. There was something else I wanted to do, too, and I don't remember what it was. What was it? Oh, I remember. It's just a very, very little thing. But right here... Wait, what's going on here? I don't know why there's an extra snare right here, but it needs to go away because I could hear that. I could hear that extra snare when it hit this build part, and I was like, why is that even there? It shouldn't be there. Let me make sure it's not here either. Here. That's where it needs to be. And... okay, I think that's it. All right, let's go ahead and save, and let's make some white noise. All right. Because it's a trance track, and as we all know, you got to have some white noise to really kind of liquefy things, for lack of a better word. I don't know what's the right word. So for white noise, this is the color I choose, just the color I landed on. Let's go ahead and call it... well, no, I'm not even going to call it anything, and you'll see why. So for white noise, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can use ES2, Stock Logic plugin. You can use Alchemy. You can use... I mean, if you have Spire, you can use it. You can use anything you want. I'm going to use Serum. Oh, hang on a minute. Turn on the keys. Ow. Okay. We have signal. So we're just going to use the noise oscillator. Which you really can't even hear. Oh, because... no, I can't even hear. Let me bust that to the in-ear mix. Oh, I gotta turn that off. Still probably can't hear it very much because it's pretty soft. But I'm gonna go to the analog, and I'm gonna go to bright white, and let's make it pretty loud. Okay. Let's just go all the way to the very beginning. Let's create a MIDI region. Let me go ahead and do just a little icon. I'll give it that. And the way I do this is I just pick a MIDI note and let it run for about 5 beats, 5 measures, whatever these are. All right, now we got to EQ this sucker. Oh, that's a compressor. I said EQ. We want not a lot of low end. See how 300 sounds. About 400. We'll do 300. Oh, no, we'll do 400. We'll do 400. Let's bring in some highs and a lot of mids. And we'll bring in a ton of reverb. I'm going to use Silver Verb and bring the wet mix all the way up. Bring the size all the way up. And bring the reflectivity pretty much all the way up. Cut out the low end. Actually, no, let's kill the dry mix. Well, I'll have the dry mix up for now. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. All right. Let's go ahead and put a volume control on it. And how do I usually do this? Yeah, I think I usually do. I do for 3 bars. I let it go for 3 bars. Delete that, and then the volume sort of drops down like that. That doesn't sound right. Something about that's not right. I feel like the dry mix may be down. I have to load up one of my other tracks and look at the wet. Let's see. Well, no, because I always delete them. All right. Well, we'll leave this go for now. Let's go ahead and grab an LFO tool. Pretty dramatic LFO tool. That might help it. I'll tell you. Well, okay. We'll work with this for now. I'll probably make changes. But let's see. A couple of different combinations that I want to do is a rise, where it sounds like it's sort of opening up, like wind sort of blowing in. You know, something like that. So to do that, we will go to the LFO, the channel frequency. We'll go to the high cut frequency, and let's bring this down to, let's see how 400 sounds. Okay, I really hear the low end there. I've got the low end high. So, let's do 180 for now. So what's going to happen is this guy's going to open up right here. He's going to do like this. Okay. Now, at the same time, I have to do something with the low cut frequency. I think he's going to start off here, and he's going to build, and right about here, he's going to start building up as well, and he's going to build up to about 1,000, I think. No, it's got to be higher than that. Does it go all the way up top? Maybe it goes all the way to the top. Let me drag it here. That doesn't sound right. Well, we'll do that for now. I'm also going to grab the high cut Q factor, which is this guy right here. That is currently at 0.71. Let me see. Let me look at what happens to the high cut while this. So it comes this way. So while it's coming to this way, I want the Q factor to be pretty high, but then I want it to lower back down to 0.71 as this guy is moving. So let's do 2 points and have the first one up to, we'll just do 310. And that sounded better. Okay, that LFO tool's a bit too drastic. Okay, I remember how I do this. This bar is going to be like 8 measures long. And have it go here, right? Right there. See how that sounds? Yeah, that's a bit better. So that's going to be our rise. So well, that's a quick rise. We'll bounce it in place as a quick rise. Let's leave the source track because we're not done. We're going to be using that. It's not very loud. It's not very loud at all. I wonder if I should raise. Here, let's undo that. Let's raise the level on this guy a little bit. Let's raise it to 90. Now let's bounce that in place. Quick rise. That's a bit better. Still could be louder, but it'll work. It'll work. So I got a quick rise. Now let me do a fall. And the way I'm going to do a fall is I'm basically going to do all of this in reverse. So this guy right here has to be it has to come down to 400. This guy up here, let's delete that. And then go to the high cut frequency. Delete that. Let's do the same sort of points that we did. Just raise these up. Or, yeah, no, that's right. That's right. And the high cut Q factor right there. Back down to 0.71. So I just did it backwards. Listen to this. Oh. That's too drastic. Oh, and I know why. This Q factor has to match what happens with the high cut factor. That's still too drastic. I guess I should drag these forward a little bit. Well, hang on a minute. No. No. That sounds much more akin to what I usually do. So I'm going to bounce that. Well, let me bounce it as a quick fall. Let me redo the quick rise because I don't like it now that I made that realization. So let me yet again undo all of this. Low cut frequency. Whoop. Yeah, that sounds much more like I usually do it. Okay. We'll bounce that in place as the quick rise. Oop. Now, do sound okay, right? Okay. Now that's a quick rise. What about a slow rise? Well, before I do a slow, I may not use a slow rise, but before I do a slow rise, let me do a crash. Now, crash is a little bit more complicated, and I have a method how I like to do it. So a crash, we start it. Oops. We start a crash pretty high, but not all the way high. Oh, let's go to the high cut frequency. Let's undo all of this. Okay. Right where that low cut frequency, that's good right there, where that low cut frequency is. Let's see. Where's the Q factor? Q factor is there. Okay, what about the high cut? No. Make the Q factor a bit more of a sudden drop. If I just make it a more drastic drop, like that's too hissy. I like that. And what I do for this guy, I make it a very drastic LFO curve, right? But I have it sort of fill it like I start it with the LFO depth all the way at the bottom, and by the time it gets over here, it's all the way to the top, so it sounds like this. And actually, let's do that. Yeah. So that's a crash. Oop. Yeah, nice and loud. It can take the place of the cymbal crash I have at certain points. Let's do a sweep. Now for a sweep. Nope, no, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to delete these. Make that depth all the way at the top. Let's see, how do I want to do a sweep? Right around here. So for a sweep, I want the low cut frequency to basically... Deleting automation points is so annoying. See? Because it does that. Why is it adding that extra automation point? What is the meaning of that? Let's just leave the high cuts the way they are. Just do that. No. So annoying. To do this, we'll want to go into Serum and actually grab Serum's volume itself, which we can use the... I'm sure there's a master volume at some point. Yeah, master volume, I can do that. It's at 70%, right? So I'll just... bring it down like that. Have them come down like that. Yeah. And then the normal volume curve will take down all the reverb and all that good stuff. See, reason I'm using the Serum's volume is so that way all the LFO tools and the silver verb and all that stuff that I added is still heard. So let's go ahead and bounce that. Some of these I'm going to use, some of these I may not. And the last one I'm going to do is my favorite. It's the slow rise, but because of the way this track is, I may not use it. Let's get that volume set. But I'll show you how I do it. So, again, bring that guy down to 4. Why does it add... Okay, hang on a minute. I got to delete those. Why it's adding that extra volume point, or that extra automation point, I don't know. But let's drag this guy up to basically the end. Instead of a volume curve, well, let's delete that. Wow. Oh my goodness. I don't know why deleting automation points is so finicky. But it's like it's still... Because you want... It thinks like this is selected, so it wants to delete all of that. It's annoying. Let's go to the low cut frequency, do that. Let's do the same thing that we did with the high cut frequency. Basically, we're just going to... what did I say, 180? Basically, we're just going to actually delete that, have a point right there. Now do the high cut Q factor like we always do. But here's the trick. We go to silver verb, and we go to the wet volume, right? And we slowly bring it down. Now listen to it. So now there's no huge volume trails after it. This is great for fresh in the breakdown. I love using this fresh in the breakdown, but I may not use it in this track. Let's do slow rise. and I'm going to bounce it without the LFO tool. I may add that later on. All right, now let's go ahead and mute this guy. We're done with all of it. Actually, let's go ahead and mute the whole region so that way none of those automation points are there. We'll save, and we'll hide this guy for now. Now let's distribute these guys somewhat evenly. Now, first off, okay. Okay, first off, I'm going to find the... Okay, well, how do I want to do this? First off, I'm going to find, like, for instance, the quick rise. Where does it hit its sort of climax point? Right about there. So I'm just going to go ahead and split it right there. And, like, let's see. But, like, this slow rise, for example. Oops. I know I want to put this slow rise right here. Right here. So listen to this. Actually, I think it needs to be right there. I think it was fine where it was. Let's see. We'll put the normal fall, the quick fall, right here. Actually, no, we'll just, well... Should I do that, or should I start with the crash? I'm debating. Because I think it actually might be better to have the quick rise greet this guy. So it sounds like this. Let's drag that out. Yeah, I think that's the best. Nothing's going to be... Well, yeah, nothing here. But we'll drag this quick fall... Let's... That's about the most climactic point. So, right about here. Yeah, nah, I'm not feeling that. But I am feeling this. I'm going to delete this crash right here. We don't need it. Actually, no. Yeah, no, just leave it the way it is. Slow rise might be somewhere right around here. Oops. That's how I would utilize a slow rise on a breakdown, but I don't think it sounds good here. So I'm going to delete those. Now that sweep might actually be really good. So let me. Reason I cut off the front end of it so is that way I can just grab it by this point right here and then move it to the front of every thing, every region. How's that sound? Yeah, it sounds much better. Where's my fall? That'll work. Where's that sweep? Oh, I don't want the sweep. I want the fall. The very last thing will be the slow rise. I have that at the end there. Which will be right here. I'm thinking of not having this loop right here. Let's hear how this sounds like. Okay, I'm also thinking of putting the LFO tool on this guy just for this one time. You know, this would be the only time it's heard. I would just have the bypass on all of the other tracks. So like right here. Yeah, that's fine. All right, cool. Now we'll just grab every one of these. Let's see. The slow rise is fine. The sweep is the slow rise is fine. The crash is fine. But the sweep, the quick rise, and the quick fall, they all need to be dragged out all the way to the end. Where's the quick fall? And then where's the sweep? Where is the sweep? All right. So that's what the track looks like. As I thought, that pad comes in a little too abruptly, so let me try something with the pad. Try something with the pad. I'm going to have it... Let me zoom in on that pad. Let me just copy these first three notes, the G chord that it is on. Let's see. Let's create the MIDI region. I'm gonna introduce the pad sooner. Than, before the drop. So let me just stretch these out. It'll just hang on a G note. Now, why can I not hear it? I can't hear it at all. Like, I can just so faintly hear it. Why is that? What's happening? There it is. Oh, I see. I didn't start it at lowest modulation. I started at 40. Let me bring it up to like about halfway. 60. Well, really 64 is halfway, but I couldn't quite nail the point. There it is. Let's loop it. Let's have the LFO tool has got to be on at this point, or it's got to have high depth. Oh, that's the wrong guy. Up here. Now what I'm going to do is have the low cut frequency up really, really high. See, it's at 400 now, right? What happens if I bring it up to 1,000? Oh, that's 100. Let's try 2,000. Actually, no, let's do 1,000 and bring the low cut or the high cut down. To like 500. Let's try 2,000 again. No, I think 1,000 was good. Let's nail these points. Let's drag this guy back here just for now. Oops. Right about here, he starts coming in. And we drag him to right about here. Just extend those notes. And this is going to come back down to 400. While this comes up to 1,000. It's barely audible. But now you hear it. Oh, I forgot. Here it has to match the chord sequence. So let's do that. Copy these MIDIs over to these MIDIs. Crash is the only one that doesn't need to be raised in volume. All right, that's basically the track. Now, if you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I'm taking some of these things, some of these tracks, these patches that have automation curves throughout the track, and I'm just putting them in their initial positions. So that way, right here, when the track starts, they're where they need to be in terms of, cut off and all that good stuff. So that if I'm playing the track right here and all this stuff is wide open, and then I suddenly cut to the very beginning, all this stuff resets it back to its initial positions, their starting positions, which is where I set them. That's important for when you bounce this stuff, because if you're like me, you may have a habit of just listen to something right here, and then you just go ahead and you bounce the whole track. And when this first pad hits, for example, it'll be wide open for a split second before it finally realizes it needs to not be there. So this way, I've got this empty little starter region that gets it where it needs to be. All right, now let's quickly put the final volume mixing on this guy. Now to do that, I'm going to use the limiter. Now this I learned from watching somebody else on YouTube, so I'm going to take his word for it. But I'm going to go over to Dynamics, and I'm going to use Logic's stock limiter. I have a preset. I call it Final Mix. And what happens here? So you see the gain here is -4, the release is 24, the output level is -0.3, and the look ahead is 5. Now, release and look ahead, I don't know much about what they are, but I can sort of tell you what output level is. I mean, obviously output level, but think of output level like this. With output level set at -0.3, the volume will never go higher than -0.3. And that's supposedly that's the industry standard. So that's where we want it. Now, what this means is that at certain points of the track where it's really, really loud, think of the output level as a ceiling. And when somebody walks in, if say a really tall person walks in, just imagine that you had a super low ceiling and a really tall person walked in. They'd have to bend over and their neck be all crooked, but they'd still technically be in the height level of the ceiling, right? So the gain right here is what changes. We lower that or raise that to have it fit in this output ceiling. Because otherwise, if your gain is way up here, yeah, it'll still only produce at -0.3, but it'll be really, really compressed and squashed and it'll sound bad. Whereas if you lower the gain, that won't happen. Now, if you lower the gain super low, you'll barely even hear it. It won't ever get louder than this because it'll never reach it. So what I like to do is I grab go into metering, and I grab the loudness meter. Again, stock logic. Make sure that you put your limiter before your loudness meter. That's important. So what we're going to look for. So we got 2 bars here, one over here and one in the center. The one in the center is the one we're interested in. What this guy said is it needs to, industry standard, to where it sounds good in your car and on your speakers and all that, between -12 and -9. That's what we're looking for. And I went ahead and looped this guy right here, this section right here. It's the last sort of drop section before the last breakdown. That's obviously going to be the loudest part of the track. So if I can get that So that's negative 6.6. That's too much. I'm pushing 9 right there. So let's bop it down to just 7. Let's wait for it to come back around. Still too loud. So I think it can actually come up a little bit. All right, that's good. That's good. Well, that's our track, basically. Yeah, that's our track. So, I'm going to bounce this guy, and between today and tomorrow, I'm going to listen to it in my car and see if it sounds good. And if it sounds good, then I'll finalize it, basically. When I say finalize, I'll say, okay, it's ready. I won't really do anything to it that I haven't done. But I'll probably show a quick little video of myself making an edited version, because this is the extended mix, so you can kind of get an idea of how I do that. But yeah, otherwise, thanks for watching. I hope you learned some stuff throughout this whole process. I know, like I said, I'm an amateur, and I know other producers probably do things way differently than I do with much better results. But this is all that this is a taste of what I have learned over the years. And so I just wanted to share that with everybody. So hope you enjoyed it. I may stream some stuff like this later on in the future. Until then, you guys have a great rest of your day. Pieces.